York, a Good Karma Brands radio station.
Michael K. is on the radio today, and he ain't afraid to say what he's thinking. It's the Michael K. Show on 880 ESPN Radio.
And a good afternoon, everybody. This is indeed the Michael K. Show. We thank you for joining us on this Monday, March 16th. It's 2026. Me and you for two. Those are the rules of engagement. The fastest 2 hours of sports talk radio begins right now. A lot of stuff to do. We've got the field of 68 that we'll talk about. We have Jon Rothstein coming on at 2 o'clock. There's nobody in the country, in my opinion, that knows college basketball as well as thoroughly and discuss it as well and as thoroughly as Jon Rothstein. So we will talk to him at 2 o'clock about that. Knicks with another win that leaves you empty. I mean, they're trailing by 21 points to a G League Golden State Warriors team. And they end up coming back and they win by 3. Yeah, I know a win is a win is a win, and now they're 3 games into the 7 where they should have 3 wins, and they do, but none of them have been all that impressive. I'm sorry. They haven't been. I just keep getting bad feelings about this team, why they're playing the way they're playing. And once again, Jordan Clarkson kind of saves their bacon. A guy that had been relegated to the bench, obviously the 10th man on the team, but Mike Brown realizing I need something. I need some spark. I need some firepower. So Clarkson played a big role as they squeak out a win against an undermanned Golden State Warrior team. And listen, you can't do anything about injuries, right? But NBC must have been thrilled about having that game. Draymond Green decides not to play. I mean, if I was Cat, Karl Anthony Towns, I would have said something really nasty about that after what he said about me when I didn't play. And he didn't play because somebody had died that was close to him and he was attending the funeral. Well, Draymond Green didn't play because he didn't play. And again, NBC has to have a game with no star power at all. But we will start the show today with the World Baseball Classic, and that a classic last night as the United States beat the Dominican team by 2-1 score. All runs scored via the home run. Caminero hit a big home run for the Dominican, and then the United States with 2 home runs after that end up winning the game. Their bullpen was extraordinary, finishing up with Mason Miller throwing 102 miles an hour. It was weird because no one thought that the game was going to go like that, because in the previous games in the WBC, the United States had averaged 8 runs per game, and the Dominican had averaged over 10 runs per game, and the Dominican ended up scoring just 1 run. Just absolutely amazing. Scoring just 1 run. There's so many layers to this. The thing that left me empty about the game, I thought it was a great, entertaining game where you sit on the edge of your seat as you're watching. I was doing that. I was listening in the car. I landed from Tampa in LaGuardia at 8:45, so listening on the plane, and then listening in the car, and then I got home and caught the last, 5 innings, and I was locked in. I usually always like to watch the Oscars. Didn't do that except during the commercials. I watch every second of the Knicks game whenever they play. Didn't do that. I was locked into the WBC. So baseball has it going on. The WBC has been a great, great success. But there's a couple of items I want to hit on here. Number one, people want to jump on Aaron Judge every time he doesn't come through. It's so unfair. You don't come through 10 out of 10 times. That's just the way it is. The greatest players in the history of the world didn't come through 10 out of 10 times. So he came up with runners on second and third and 1 out, and he struck out, didn't put a ball in play. Right away, you go to social media. There's a segment of Yankee fans, a subset of Yankee fans that they want to find something to complain about with Judge. They really do. Then he almost hits a home run. He gets robbed by Julio Rodriguez on a great leaping try in center field. And then he makes a throw, I think, that changed the entire dynamic of the game, getting Fernando Tatis Jr. going from first to third. And he threw a ball about 95, 96 miles an hour, which is the hardest ball that he's thrown in the last couple of years. And he nailed Tatis. And that was the third out of the inning. They would have had two great players coming up after that if he had stayed at second base, and they decided to test Judge. And you could see for the rest of the game they did not test Judge. So that was a game-changing play defensively. Nobody wants to talk about that. Another thing that I always get from baseball fans, and I got a lot of it in the airport yesterday in Tampa and also at the ballpark on Saturday and Sunday, I don't really like the ABS system. It's a game played by humans, and it should be decided by umpires because they're human. What do you have to go to a computer check? First of all, who built the computer? A human being. And I always say, this is my answer to everybody. I try not to get into arguments with people. I save that for these 2 hours. If your team was in the World Series and it was the seventh game and there were 2 outs, same thing as what happened yesterday. Tying runs at third base, right? Tying runs at third base. And you get called out on a pitch that was 4 inches low. You want ABS then, or do you want human error involved in the way the game is decided? There is not a downside to ABS, not a downside. In fact, I would almost sign up for ABS calling every single pitch. We'll get away from the nonsense of framing and stuff like that, and there would be no bad calls. And I'll give you another clue. If they actually had an ABS on every single call rather than an umpire, you know what would happen? Scoring would skyrocket. If pitchers had to throw the ball over that 17-inch wide plate every single time, you know what? Scoring would go up. Scoring would go up. And yesterday, with Perdomo at the plate, Mason Miller on the mound, runner at third base, game 2-1. Everything. This means everything to Dominican team. Their players on their team have said they would rather win the WBC than win the World Series. They've said that. So you know how much was meant by that call. And Miller is nasty. He throws 102 miles an hour. So when he throws a breaking ball, it's hard to take that pitch because you have to start your bat very, very quickly. Even if the ball is bounced, and you saw that earlier in the inning, you end up striking out because you can't identify the ball right away. Perdomo is known as one of the clutch hitters in baseball. He worked the count. Miller threw him a breaking ball on a 3-2 pitch. And Corey Blazer, the home plate umpire, said strike 3. End of the game. United States advances to the championship game on Tuesday. Perdomo puts his hands up in the air. There is no ABS challenge. There's no ABS challenge in the WBC, and there's a reason for that. In order to do the ABS challenge the right way, every single player that is going to play in the big leagues this year has to be measured. Height, the whole deal. They have to be measured. So it's an exact strike zone for each and every player. It's not a strike zone, one strike fits all. They could not do that with all the foreign players that are playing that are not major league players. They couldn't do it in time. So there's no ABS. In 3 years, there'll be an ABS in the WBC. And he gets punched out. I'm absolutely mind-boggled by the people that have come out and said, hey, no, that's too close to take. Alex Rodriguez said that on the postgame show on FS1. Too close to take. It was 4 inches low. Why should you swing at a pitch out of the strike zone? That was a brilliant at-bat by Gerardo Perdomo. And he works the count. He gets Miller to go to a breaking ball because Perdomo was not being overwhelmed by the 102-mile-an-hour fastball. It was a classic at-bat, just the way you'd want this great game to end, and it ends on a lousy call. And Jeff Passan wrote a column on ESPN.com and spoke about you don't want a game like that to end on a call that bad. And, that was just one of 2 calls that were awful. In the previous inning, Juan Soto got punched out on a ball that was in the same spot. The same spot. And I love when people that have never played the game say, well, you know that he's calling that pitch, so you got to swing. I'll give you a perfect person to answer that, and that is Wade Boggs. Wade Boggs used to go crazy when John Hirschbeck was at the plate, the home plate umpire. Crazy. Because John Hirschbeck, there was a 17-inch plate from inside corner to outside corner. And John Hirschbeck would give the pitcher 2.5 to 3 inches on either side of the plate. And Boggs would always go nuts because he knew the strike zone better than anybody. So one time I went up to him, I said, Why do you go so crazy? Why don't you know that John Hirschbeck is behind the plate and that you have to widen the strike zone? And he looked at me like I was crazy. He said, Michael, I've been learning the strike zone since I was 5 years old. You want me to unlearn it in the forward bats when John Hirschbeck's behind the plate? That's unreasonable. It's muscle memory. I do not swing at pitches that are off the plate. That's unfair to think that. So you're asking these great players, and these are some of the greatest players that the game has. That's what was so special about this game. Up and down the lineup, unbelievable players, right? And you've got people saying, well, he should have swung at it because he knows they call the ball low. You have muscle memory on what's a strike and what's not. You don't think Juan Soto knows the strike zone as well as any player who's ever lived? And he has to get struck out in a big game on a pitch that's clearly out of the strike zone. At least that wasn't the last out of the game. This was the last out of the game, and he got punched out. So Jeff Passan writes this story. I'll tell you what. I've said this over and over. You realize it. I say it all the time. It's a cesspool, social media. So they're knocking Jeff Passan for stating the obvious. Aren't you glad that your country won? Are you kidding me? First of all, I'm going to come right out and say it, and the players think differently. My country is not better or worse if the United States wins this WBC. That's not how I equate the good or the bad of my country. And if I'm writing about that game, you're supposed to be objective whatever you write, whoever the opponent is, whoever the two teams are. So Jeff Passan made a very, very clear statement. That's not the way you want this game to end. And he is right. It was an embarrassment the call was that bad. And for Alex to say, well, it's too close to take. No, it's not. It's 4 inches low. That's not close. You know, yesterday on the Yankee game, the Yankees against the Tigers, there were some ABS challenges. And Laz Diaz, the home plate umpire, missed some calls by 0.4 of an inch. Now, if it's 0.4 of an inch low, you can actually utter the phrase, that's too close to take. 4 inches low is not too close to take. You're supposed to take that, take first base, and then let Fernando Tatis come up and have real drama. Tatis of the Padres, Miller of the Padres, going at each other, almost like how the last WBC ended with Ohtani against Trout. But we never got that because Corey Blazer called the strike that was clearly not a strike. And that's not saying I'm rooting for the Dominicans or rooting for the United States. Of course you want the United States to win. We're United States citizens. But you also have to be honest. You can't be blind because of the country that's across the chest. It was a terrible, terrible call, an embarrassment. The WBC has been so great this year, so great. And this was a classic game from start to finish. The Gunnar Henderson home run, the Roman Anthony home run, the Caminero home run. Tremendous. Paul Skeens on the mound. You got Severino dealing 99 miles an hour, throwing as hard as he's thrown in like 4 years. So everybody was amped up and pumped up for this. You don't want the game to end that way. It's awful. Awful. I wanted to see Miller against Tatis. That's how I wanted the game to end. Now the game ends and you got a weird taste in your mouth. And now the Dominican certainly did not distinguish itself. The Dominican players didn't even talk to the media. I guess that Jeff Passan got them by the bus. A couple of them had comments, but they did not go to the media availability, anything like that. They just walked out of the building. That's not a good look either. Albert Pujols, the manager of Team Dominican, he said, I'm not going to blame it on one call. He took the high road. He said there are a lot of opportunities we could have won the game, and we didn't. Tatis also struck out with a runner at third base and less than 2 outs, just like Judge did. So they had opportunities. The only run scored in the game were via the home run, which is what Major League Baseball is about anyway. I mean, to shut down a Dominican team that had one of the most unbelievable lineups that you'll ever see to just one run, phenomenal. Can't take that away. And the bullpen was amazing. David Bednar pitched the 7th inning, got out of an unbelievable jam with a strikeout. He was pumped up. There was so much theater. There was so much drama. There was so much tension, everything you want. And then it has to be ruined by just one of the worst calls you'll ever see. The worst. The worst. 4 inches low? Oh, it's too close to take. No, you're wrong. It's not too close to take. Because what I would ask Alex if he was on with me, would you have swung at that pitch? 4 inches low? Would you have swung at that pitch? No, I don't think you would have. None of those three guys on the Fox postgame show, Ortiz wouldn't have swung at it, Jeter wouldn't have swung at it, neither would A-Rod. To put that on a guy, to expand the strike zone when you have a magnificent at-bat like Perdomo did, come on, man. That's not fair. That's not fair. 4 inches low is not close. 0.4 inches is close. 4 inches low is way low. And when the pitch was delivered and Corey Blazer punches him out, before the replay, I'm sitting there, I'm going, that was a ball. And then they finally showed the replay, and Smoltz and Joe Davis said, I guess they want ABS right now. Clearly low. What an awful way to end a tremendous game. So the United States is going to play either Nicaragua or Team Italy. They'll play tonight. Oh, I'm sorry, Venezuela or Team Italy. Thank you, Thomas. And who wins tonight? The United States gets an extra day off, which benefits them. Maybe Miller is available with an extra day. And the team that wins tonight is not going to have an extra day. So their bullpen will be somewhat compromised. So they are going to start Nola tonight, Team Italy, because Nola was supposed to be saved for the championship game. But then they came to the conclusion, why are we saving him for the championship game? There might not be a championship game. We have to win this game. So Nola tonight, and then Lorenzen will start if they win tomorrow against the United States. And Lorenzen had beaten the United States in the pool play. So very interesting stuff. Nobody expected the Team Italy to be here. Cervelli's done an unbelievable job. They've represented themselves beautifully. Maybe, and this is what this tournament's all about. Well, it's about making money, but you also want to expand the game. And they're actually caring about baseball in Italy. Italy is not a baseball country. But they've taken notice of this. So the United States waits to see who the winner is tonight, and then we move on. But a great game last night, except for the endings. Let's go to the phones. 1-800-919-3776. We go to Andrew in Queens. Andrew.
Michael, how's it going?
Good. How you doing, Andrew?
All good. So first of all, I just want to say how I personally love the WBC. I would love to see more of it. I've been saying it. I've been a big fan of it for a while. I would love to see it every 2 years, possibly, maybe even a different format. I think the passion that it brings out of fan bases is great, and I think that it shows that there's different cultural ways that fans across this globe watch baseball. And I think that that's the best part about this tournament is seeing how different fans interact and everything. Now, in regards to last night's game, yes, I completely agree. The call was atrocious. But, and here's where I'm going to pull a line from your book, Everyone Get Closer to the Radio. That was the best thing that could happen for baseball, was that call getting blown in that spot. And the reason why I say it is because there's going to be people this year that are going to be saying, oh, it's not right that, you can challenge the call and, there's the human element of the game with an umpire and everything like that. Wrong. We now have the technology where you can challenge these calls and you can, go to the video board. But Major League Baseball has been testing the full ABS technology in minor leagues. They scrapped it because they didn't feel it was, good enough. But I'm sorry, especially after last night and a call in that big of a spot that screwed over a team that was on the comeback that could have led to an even bigger moment. That was the best thing that could have happened, because now baseball needs to realize why it is important to get these calls correct. And you have all these fragile these fragile umpires with their big egos, and they feel that they're bigger than the games. The CB Buckners, the Angel Hernandez. I know he's not there anymore, but you know the guys I'm talking about that want to be the game and make the game about them. Fans don't want that. Fans don't care about the umpires. We want the umpires to get the calls correct. And when you get a call that badly wrong in that spot last night, and you have to see Derek Jeter try to defend it and try to deflect, because he knows it's an awful call, and he can't stand the post game. Oh, that was terrible. Baseball got it wrong, because Derek Jeter is an ambassador for the game. But when you get a call that bad and you ruin what was a fantastic game, not once but twice, the Soto at bat in the eighth and the Perdomo at bat in the ninth, baseball has to realize we need to figure out a way to remedy this.
I've never understood, Andrew, and I'm glad you brought it up. The people that don't want replay and they don't want ABS, when they say such nonsense of, the human element. Well, why aren't you still getting around with a horse and buggy? There are advancements in the world. They invented the car. So now you could drive rather than have a horse and buggy. And that's okay, So if people get sick, they should just die, or should they go to the doctor and get all these advancements that have gotten refined over the years? It's such a moronic comment. Oh, it's a human element game. Well, you know what? How about all these pitchers that throw 100 miles an hour because they go to all these velocity shops and they learn how to throw even harder? Oh, I mean, human element, why even go there? Everything is built by a human. Now, in a couple of years, that might be the case. Maybe things are built by AI. But you know what? AI has been built by a human, too. That's the most ridiculous argument I've ever heard. You know, it's played by humans, and it should be decided by humans. Oh, but if the humans aren't doing their job, you have to improve it. So now you can actually catch the humans making a mistake and right that mistake. And it doesn't take a long time. And it's going to expose people, too. Yesterday's Yankees-Tiger game, where the Tigers beat up the Yankees 12-1, Laz Diaz at home plate had 4 different calls overturned. He's never been thought of as a great umpire. He's been around for 31 years, but there has been no recourse. So players would complain, and they'd throw their hands in the air, or the manager would get thrown out. Now all you do is tap the top of your helmet and have it checked out. You know what? It gets overturned. Who would be against that? So what Andrew said is absolutely true. It was a terrible, terrible way for the Dominican to lose that game, but it's great for all the people that scream, oh, you might add 4 minutes of extra time on the game. As I say with people, where are you going? Where are you going? That you can't spend another 4 minutes so that the calls get right. And by the way, the ABS system, it takes about 5 seconds to check out whether the call is right or wrong. You don't have that much time? So if each team uses all 4 of their challenges, that's 20 extra seconds on your day. Goodness gracious. What were you about to do? Find the cure for cancer in those 20 minutes or 20 seconds? Come on. Let's go to Mike in Bayside. Mike.
Hey, Mike. Mike, I agree with you in the previous caller, 1,000,000%. You know, the main point I'll make about this is if the technology is there, use it. And I'll even go a step further. Like in baseball, why not just let the robot umps make the calls, especially in the regular season, just to speed things up. And with the NFL, I would have some kind of system. Like I'm sure we're going to be there in 5 or 10 years, where when the ball goes over the goal line, like things light up, and you don't have to do a replay in the middle of a pile and human judgment. The technology is all there. We might as well use it. And I love it in tennis. Like in tennis years ago, they have this system with the ball, and everybody starts clapping, whether it's in or out. And Mike, I'd like to make a St. John's point too, if I can.
Sure.
Okay. I'm a St. John's grad, class 2001. Huge fan. I want them to blow Northern Iowa out on Friday, but plus 11. I'm just looking at that, and I'm saying, wait a minute. This is a weak conference with a 12-loss team, a team that lost like 5 or 6 in a row during the season. I want you to ask that guy at the top of the hour, the expert, like how is this team? If you're telling me St. John's are going to be up by 7 or 8 with 5 minutes left, which is possible with an 11-point spread, we could lose the game. So I really think that spread should have been 20, give or take a couple of points. If they wanted to get cute, they could have made it like 13.5, 14.5.
I'll tell you what, Mike. You always have to be careful about this. I mean, because you're seeing a team and you're looking at a record and you're looking at the conference they're playing in. You haven't really seen them play. You have no idea what they're about, how they match up with St. John's. Vegas does. The people that make the lines do. So if it's 11, watch. It'll probably be right around 10, 12, 13-point game. They know. It's so funny when people have to make out their brackets. That's the fun part of March Madness. They think they know all these teams. We don't know these teams. You don't know who Northern Iowa is. We have no idea. You know Queens is, the team that made it with an automatic bid? Do you even know where it's located? There's not Queens College in New York City. Do you know? But still, people are going to talk about it authoritatively. That's why we're going to have Jon Rothstein on, because you know what? He's such a psycho. He does know everything about every single team. But St. John's fans, I thought what you were going to say, Mike, I mean, you got a little bit of a complaint there. You get sent out west, a terrible, terrible, very difficult bracket to get out of. Your 5th seed with all the numbers, they probably could have been a 4. If they were benevolent, maybe they could have been on the 3 line. But I just don't get how UConn is a 2 seed, And St. John's beat UConn 2 out of 3 times, and I mean really beat them badly in the 2 games. And you're going to talk about, well, strength of schedule, they didn't beat it. Well, still, the team that's rated above them, they beat them 2 out of 3 times. So maybe John can explain that. All right, we're going to talk a little bit about Aaron Judge when we get back and some of the comments he made yesterday. So stick around for that. Right now, FanDuel is dropping bonus bets into everyone's account for the tournament. All you have to do is opt in to claim your bonus. Use them on your bracket picks, money lines, spreads, totals, game props, or even same-game parlays. But don't wait. These bonus bets are only available for a limited time. Just visit FanDuel.com/local to learn more. 21 plus, physically present in New York. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Max bonus $500 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. For help with a gambling problem, call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
Life is motion, but for Jaime, debilitating pain in both hips brought everything, including family time, to a halt.
Every doctor told me the same thing. They would do one hip at a time.
At White Plains Hospital, Dr. Jacob Totka's unique expertise provided an alternate approach by replacing both of Jaime's hips on the same day.
In just 2 hours, I got 2 new hips, and I went home that day.
White Plains Hospital, among the best hospitals anywhere that just so happens to be here. A member of the Montefiore Health System.
25 a month, 5 whole years. Same sweet number in your ears. Check it in a year, check it in 5. This ain't optimum 5, but price is still alive. 25 a month, 5 whole years. Same sweet number in your ears. Get Optimum famously fast fiber internet. Optimum.com/25 for 5. Or call 8884-OPTIMUM. Terms apply. See Optimum.com for details.
Think great meat has to come with a high price? Not at Wild Fork Foods. Get beef tenderloin for only $10 a pound. Yes, $10 a pound. And Atlantic salmon portions just $9.98 a pound. That's awesome quality at a great value for your table. Everything is blast frozen to lock in flavor and nutrients. Shop one of their 7 locations, or you can order online for same-day delivery. WildForkFoods.com. Wild Fork Foods. Quality meat. Wild prices.
Hey, it's Alan Hahn. Rings End is your locally owned Benjamin Moore retailer. They're your store for quality with a full line of brilliant and durable Benjamin Moore paints. They're your store for inspiration with thousands of colors and a variety of sheens. And Rings End is your store for expertise with one-on-one advice for contractors and homeowners. Insist on Benjamin Moore paint from Rings End because the gorgeous color you love can't be matched in another brand of paint.
There's a lot of reasons why people buy at Ramsey Mazda. It's their selection, it's their customer service, and it's their savings. Lease a new 2026 Mazda CX-50 Hybrid Preferred with all-wheel drive for $259 for 36 months. Or buy with 1.9% APR for 36 months. Start shopping now at RamseyMazda.com. Choose wisely. Choose Ramsey Mazda. Call 833-853-2970 for lease details. VIN TN142673. MSRP $37,300. Zero security deposit. 1.9% APR for $28.60 a month per $1,000 financed. Ends 3/31/26.
If you've been injured on a construction site, then you need a lawyer who knows New York's unique labor laws. At the Parisman Firm, they have decades of experience handling construction accident cases and a proven track record of delivering huge results. Their team has already recovered nearly $1 billion for hardworking New Yorkers. From scaffold accidents to slip and falls and equipment failures, they've got your back. Call the Parisman Firm now at 718-WORKERS. That's right, 718-WORKERS, because your case is their cause. Get the justice you deserve today.
At Uline, they know firsthand the road to success is an uphill climb. Uline started in the family basement, and through hard work is now North America's most trusted shipping and industrial supplier. They get what it means to have the support of reliable, hardworking partners. So they keep 41,000 items ready to ship. Whether your company is still in a basement office or expanding cross-country, Uline will be there on your road to success. Visit uline.com.
Start spreading the news. New York Yankees baseball is back in the Bronx. Come out to Yankee Stadium on Saturday, April 4th for a Yankee Stadium promotional giveaway tradition. Calendar night. The first 40,000 in attendance will receive a New York Yankees calendar courtesy of MasterCard. For tickets, log on to Yankees.com/tickets. Again, it's Yankees calendar night on Saturday, April 4th against the Miami Marlins. Visit Yankees.com/tickets today.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6759. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6759. That's 800-575-6759. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Game Time brought to you by Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey, because when it's game time, it's Tully time. 6:10, the Mets play the Nationals in spring training action. 7 p.m., Rangers host the Kings at Madison Square Garden. Coverage will begin at 6:30 right here on ESPN New York. 7 p.m., the Devils host the Bruins at the Prudential Center. ESPN TV will broadcast that game. You know what's amazing? Don's in for his show, which starts at 3 o'clock, and told me that his next game will be the 6th game that he has broadcast in the last 6 weeks. So he's kind of turned into Bob with shoes and a football announcer. The Devils have been the national broadcasters have taken the Devils so much lately. Now, the Devils are not a playoff team, and you wonder, would they have been given those games back to MSG if Jack Hughes didn't score the golden goal? I don't know. So Don's in studio today. He is not at the Prudential Center. That game's on ESPN. 7:30, the Nets host the Trailblazers at Barclays Center. That's on Yes. 8 p.m., Italy and Venezuela play in the World Baseball Classic semifinal to see who will play the United States in the final. Tullamore Dew, the original triple distilled, triple blended, triple cask matured Irish whiskey. Be sure to grab a Tullamore Dew. Try the new Tullamore Dew Honey during today's action. Glass up to enjoying Tullamore Dew responsibly. So, a lot of today and last night has been spent dissecting the words of Aaron Judge. And we'll let you hear what he said rather than me sit here and paraphrase or just read a quote. Here's what Aaron said about the atmosphere at the game yesterday.
I say it's been bigger. The World Series I was in, the crowd here, the crowd we had when we played against Mexico, it's bigger and better than the World Series. It's just, like I said, the passion that these fans have representing their country, representing some of their favorite players, there's nothing like it. And that's what you dream of as a kid. When I was betting my backyard, playing wiffle ball, and this is the moments you dream of, big spots, big situations, and it gives me chills right now thinking about how special that was. I try to take a moment every game to kind of look around, appreciate the crowd, appreciate the moment, and it's just a blessing that we get to go out there and do our thing.
All right, so obviously he's loving the experience, being the captain of the team. They're in the championship game. All of that's wonderful. And if he said the crowds are better, he's played in the World Series, and maybe they are better. He's never played in Game 7. He's never played in a Game 7 of the World Series, which I think would be commensurate to playing in that game last night. Because last night was win or go home. He's never played in Game 7 where both teams are win or go home. He has played in a win or go home game. That was Game 5 at Yankee Stadium against the Dodgers, and the Yankees ended up losing, blowing a 5-0 lead. We don't have to litigate that again. The one thing that I would, I'll ask Aaron when I see him in San Francisco, bigger. First of all, Home Depot Park, the Miami Marlins ballpark, holds 36,000 people. Yankee Stadium holds 47, and Dodger Stadium hold 58,000 people. How's it bigger? Can't be bigger, can't be more people. Now, they might be louder, and from just listening to the crowd, it seemed like they were a pro-Dominican crowd, so they were in it. I'm sure they're hearing it. They're resting on every single pitch. I get it. There was some of that atmosphere as well when they played the games in Houston, and I can't sit here and tell Aaron Judge what to think, but bigger, it can't be right. It's not bigger. Not bigger. And a lot of people say, well, the crowds in World Series, they're so corporate. That's an easy narrative that everybody falls back on. Listen, the most expensive seats, they're probably corporate. So let's say the most expensive seats at Yankee Stadium, there's 10,000 of them. You think the rest of the 37,000 are all corporate people? That's nonsense. It's not true. Same thing with Dodger Stadium. It's not true. World Series games are expensive, but I'm sure these games are expensive too. Secondary market was probably through the roof. And I love the fact that the players care so much about the WBC. The one thing that does bother me, I'll be honest, and Aaron didn't say this, but, the Dominican players have said it, the foreign country players, Japan players, this is bigger than the World Series. Dude, man, you're getting paid a lot of money to win a World Series. And maybe I feel differently because I do not believe that international competition is a referendum on my country. Win or lose. It's not. It's not. So you mean that if the Dominican won yesterday, their country's better than the United States? I mean, we're reading this into that there are people that represent the United States that really represent the United States. And you know who those people are? The men and women of the military. That's where it all comes down to. They decide the greatness of this country. Their sheer bravery, how they fight for freedom and throw their lives on the line, that is significant to me. The United States winning the gold medal against Canada, wonderful, thrilled for them. Not a referendum on my country. It's just not. It's not. But somehow we've turned this into, oh, my country's better than your country because stop it. Come on. Come on. Aren't we getting a little bit nonsensical with this jingoistic stuff? Everything with United States on it or the other country is not proving that your country's better than the other country. So if we lose at curling, that's a slap at our country and the greatness of it. I'm glad that everybody's bought in. I'm glad. And then Mark DeRosa, before the previous game, brought in one of the Navy SEAL guys that was part of the group that killed Osama bin Laden. Okay. Whatever gets the people motivated. But what that guy did, taking out somebody who did something awful to this country or orchestrated something that was awful to this country, that is magnified for what it meant to the country. But to equate a baseball game to that, I don't know. Now, maybe they amped up the players. But does anybody out there within the sound of my voice really believe that this is a referendum on the greatness of this country? So the United States, they're not going to win the World Cup. Right? They're not. So the team that wins the World Cup, say Brazil. Brazil's better than the United States? I think we read too much into these sporting events as representations of the country. I think that's really, really dangerous. Really dangerous. But Aaron could feel about the intensity. It's probably more intense than Game 1 of the World Series, Game 3 of the World Series. I get that. I understand that. But I don't think it would be more intense than Game 7 of a World Series at Yankee Stadium or Dodger Stadium. I just don't think so. I just don't think so. Let's go to David on the east side. David.
Yeah, a quick response to what you were just saying. I agree the whole rah-rah USA thing is a little dumb, just the particular directions they take it. But I do think it's a little different for a country like DR where, look, it's a poorer country. They don't have as much to be proud of. And baseball is, their national export. And so for them to win, I get why it means more to them and why the Dominican players are, saying it means more to them than the World Series.
But there are some United States players that seem to be leaning toward that. Now Bryce Harper said, no, the Olympics. He said, I love the WBC, but the Olympics mean something. Again, the Olympics, it's wonderful, but it doesn't tell me the greatness of my country. I just don't feel that way.
No, I completely agree. I think Harper's trying to promote this because it's not necessarily a given that MLB players are going to be allowed to play in the Olympics. So I took what he said to just trying to nudge things in that direction.
Probably.
But yeah, probably. And look, I hope it happens. By the way, Puerto Rico did not qualify for the Olympics, and I don't care why. Something is wrong if there's only 6 teams and they don't get to be in.
Right.
But that's my feeling.
You got it. I agree with everything that you're saying. I don't want to take anything away from WBC. It's been tremendous, stupendous. It's been amazing. What a great experience. It's been fun to watch. It's great for baseball. Imagine you're playing games in March that people actually care about, getting big ratings. 5 million people watched one of the United States games. I forget which one. Over 5 million people. I bet you the WBC on FS1 last night outrated the Knicks and Golden State on NBC. I bet you it did. Baseball has found something. It's wonderful to see these players care so much about it. But the people that it's amazing to me how people want to find something to dislike about Aaron Judge, including some Yankee fans. He strikes out, so he never comes through. But they forget about the throw that he made. They forget about the fact that he had a home run taken away by Julio Rodriguez. They forget about that. People want to knock people off the mountain. I had somebody on social media say, you say Judge is the best. He's just an okay player. Well, sir, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know the game. If you think he's just an okay player, you're not that bright. He's one of the great players that you'll ever see, and we're all spoiled by it, so now we look for the warts. Rather than look at the beauty of his game and how great he is and how he comes through far more than most people, you're going to look at all the things and all the times that he doesn't come through. Nobody comes through 100% of the time. The greatest players in the world, the best basketball player in the world misses a shot with the game on the line. The greatest quarterback makes a bad throw. And baseball is the one sport where failure is done more than success. You got to stop. I'm going to tell this one little thing to Yankee fans. If you don't like Aaron Judge, then you're really not a fan. You're kind of a jerk. You're looking for something bad and something so good. That guy on social media on X saying he's an okay player. Really? He's an okay player? One of the greatest players in our generation that we'll ever see. And 50 years from now, people are going to be telling their grandchildren, I watched Aaron Judge play. He was amazing. But now that we're in the moment, now we don't really understand it. We want to say, well, he struck out with a runner at third and less than 2 outs. Didn't even put the ball in play. People say that about Fernando Tatis. He did the same thing. Second and third. Team's down by a run. But Judge is held to the standard. Look at his batting average, runners in play, late inning, stressful situations. Better than most every player in baseball. But again, even if you hit 350 in those times, that means you fail 6.5 times out of 10 in those times. So all you naysayers, you know what? You're looking for the negative because nobody does it 10 out of 10 times. If you do it 3.5 out of 10 times, you should be marched into the Hall of Fame on a golden throne, which is what Judge will have happen to him. And now he says this thing, which I don't think it was the best thing to say, but he's caught in the moment after a great game like that, and he says it. The bigger part, it's not bigger. Literally, it's not bigger. The fans are not bigger. The crowds are not bigger. They can't be. It's a smaller park. But if he feels the emotion that he hasn't felt in a postseason game, who's to say he's wrong? Now, you could say, was it wise to say that? No, you can argue that. We could have that discussion, but who's to say he's wrong? Get ready, New York soccer fans. New York City FC back at Yankee Stadium for a massive showdown against Inter Miami on Sunday, March 22nd, with kickoff set for 1 p.m. You don't want to miss this huge matchup. Be there when the boys in blue take the field against Miami. For your chance to be there in person, enter now at ESPNNewYork.com or through the ESPN New York app. Tickets are available now at Ticketmaster.com/NYCFC. We'll finish up this hour with more of your phone calls, and then we have Jon Rothstein to break down the field of 63. John's from CBS Sports. He actually started his career here with ESPN New York. So stick around for that. We're on until 3 at that time. Don Hahn and Rosenberg on ESPN New York.
What if your instincts could pay off? With Robinhood Prediction Markets, you could put your knowledge to work on the events that matter to you. Prediction Markets isn't just sports. It's the Fed rate decision, your favorite award show, and so much more beyond the playing field. Trade events with Robinhood. Visit Robinhood.com/predict. That's Robinhood.com/predict. Futures and cleared swaps trading involves significant risk and is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives LLC, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm.
More people trust their hearts to New York Presbyterian than any other hospital in New York.
It's because New York Presbyterian has the most experienced cardiovascular doctors, treating a full range of heart conditions, from heart failure to valve repair, with the most advanced treatments. Find a doctor at nyp.org/heart. New York Presbyterian. New York Presbyterian Hospital, based on U.S. News & World Report 2025 to 2026 cardiology, heart, and vascular surgery rankings.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/ESPN. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/ESPN. That's ZipRecruiter.com/ESPN. ZipRecruiter.com/ESPN.
ZipRecruiter. Attention New York Verizon mobile customers. Score a massive win with award-winning Fios Home Internet for an incredible $20 a month guaranteed for 3 years. Switch today for savings you can count on. Call 1-800-VERIZON now. For new Fios customers with AutoPay, mobile and home discount enrollment required. 3-year price guarantee applies to the Fios-based monthly rate only. Additional terms apply.
At City Harvest, we believe no New Yorker has to go hungry. With your help, we're on the road 365 days a year, rescuing over 77 million pounds of nutritious food and delivering it free to millions of New Yorkers, transforming surplus food into sustenance, sustainability, and smiles, rallying thousands of New Yorkers to power a network of nourishment across our city. One day, one meal, and one New Yorker at a time. That's how we feed good. Donate at cityharvest.org.
50 years from now, will jeans be wide or skinny? Will email still exist? Will guac still be extra? One thing is certain. If you won the new Millionaire for Life from the New Jersey Lottery today, you'd still be getting $1 million every year for life. That's enough money to say, bring it on, the future. I will have that guacamole at any price.
Play the new Millionaire for Life today. Anything can happen in Jersey. Must be 18 or older to buy a lottery ticket. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Evan Cohen here. In life, as in sports, the pros make it look easy. That's why pro golfers like Jason Day, Ben Griffin, and Patton Kazire trust the pros in lawn care. True Green. They have the experience and expertise to give you a lawn worthy of the PGA Tour. And since True Green does the work for you, you get more free time, or more tee times. So stop stressing over your lawn and start loving it. Sign up now at TrueGreen.com because nobody makes it easier to get a golf course quality lawn than True Green, the official lawn care treatment provider of the PGA Tour.
When you tell someone what team you cheer for, do they apologize? Does your first childhood memory involve crying on a Jumbotron? Then you may be a fan of a BST or bad sports team. Luckily, when you bundle your home and auto insurance with Progressive, you're protected from things like fire damage caused by violently unplugging the TV. Or an accidental overhand left to the drywall. Visit Progressive.com today. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Covered subject to policy terms. Not available in all states or situations. It's DiPietro and Rothenberg's Pickleball Madness. Friday, March 20th at Pickleball Heaven in Medford, Long Island. Come out and watch them play, dominate, or be humbled.
Meet Rick DiPietro and see his hot, sexy body and play pickleball with him. Get to play, pickleball with Rick and Dave, and it's going to be great.
The show starts at 6 a.m., followed by pickleball at 10 a.m. and a tournament watch party at noon. Come out and see the guys. Enjoy the pickleball and college hoops action. Entry is free and open to the public. Brought to you by Pickleball Heaven. We'll see you there.
All right, so Doug Minkiewicz played for the Twins, played for the Yankees, won a World Series with the Red Sox. He tweets out, "It's a sad day when people who were born here and make a living in this country actually make excuses for a team losing and hoping the USA doesn't win. You can cover the games without bias. It was a great game showcasing the best talent in the world. It had everything. It had to add to that. It had everything it had. It had mistakes and everything in between. This is what makes baseball the greatest game in the world. And then he writes #4glory. I don't care where you're born. You can't say that was a bad strike call. That you would rather a great game like that. And I wasn't rooting for the Dominican Republic. I was rooting for the United States. And then the for glory. Listen, if the United States tomorrow gets its backside handed to them by Venezuela or Italy, I'll still love this country. I don't think less of this. For what glory? It's the personal glory of the players. They won a championship. Doesn't make this country superior. I think this country's superior with all of its warts. I'd rather live here than anywhere else in the world. But I don't gauge my love of this country by the outcome of a sporting event. And to think that you have to lean toward the United States because you were born here, and you shouldn't even mention that it was a horrendous call that ended the game. Now, even if the call was ball 4, Tatis made an out. He struck out with a runner at third base and less than 2 outs earlier in the game. Doesn't mean he's going to get an out. But you're taking away the drama of Miller against his teammate Tatis with everything on the line on a bad call. So you're calling me a bad American? I think what he's doing is referring to Jeff Passan. You're calling him a bad American because he's born in the United States, lives in the United States, and pointed out that was a horse spit call. A terrible way to end the game. Terrible. Let's go to Jose in Connecticut.
Hey, Michael. How you doing, sir? I agree with everything you said so far, except for one thing. So it's more just to give you a different perspective.
Okay.
I just didn't like the comment about, well, if a player believes that a WBC is bigger than a World Series, for him, it doesn't diminish the World Series, but also, I just want to give perspective. I'm Puerto Rican, and I'm an Air Force veteran, so I kind of understand both sides, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just because we want to win, it doesn't mean that we think we're better than the United States. And I just wanted to, the reason I'm saying this is, it's just your understanding. I think this country, one of the reasons that even some people have problems, I see complaints about, people are not rooting for the U.S., is because we've almost politicized patriotism.
Oh, yeah.
Where if you don't support the government, you're not a patriot.
Yep.
And let me just tell you, as a Puerto Rican, we do not like our government or our leaders, but no one will ever say that we're not prideful or patriotic. So we just don't. You guys can't, people look at it from different perspectives from America, which I understand too, being I served. That doesn't mean we think we're better. It's just bragging rights. Obviously, if Puerto Rico wins, we give stuff to, crap to DR, and it's like the Yankees beating the Mets. That's how it's just pride.
But you know what gets me, Jose? I understand everything you're saying. By the way, thank you for your service. Here's the deal. Some of these guys get paid $40 million a year to win a World Series. You're not getting paid to diminish the World Series. I think is kind of. I understand why everybody from the foreign countries think the world of this. And they weren't brought up in the United States, but they are getting paid an awful lot of money by their teams to try to win a World Series and to diminish what a World Series would mean. I don't know what message it sends to fans and also to the people that are paying you.
But Michael, even if can I give Jose Reyes as an example?
Sure.
I saw his house tour the other day. He still loves his Mets. He has his whole house Mets out. It doesn't mean he doesn't love the Mets and baseball. But I want to give your example. Like you said, now that you're once you get into broadcasting, you still love your team, but it's almost like a job. They love their baseball, Major League Baseball, and their team, but it's it becomes a business. So yeah, they love. I'm sure that a Dominican player loves his MLB, and it's still up there in the top 3. But it's different when you grew up with Tatis and Vlad Jr. grew up together and playing. It's almost a choice. It's not just this team. I love this team, but you said the same thing. When you're a broadcaster, you kind of lose a little bit of your fandom. It's more it's a business. I love your team, but it's you know what I mean. I think you understand that as a business.
Yeah, but that's skewing it just a little bit, Jose. Because what I'm saying is, you're getting paid an exorbitant amount of money where the job is to win the World Series. And to say that this, which is a wonderful exhibition, means more than winning a World Series, I can't wrap my mind around. I'm not saying they're wrong because I can't tell somebody what to feel. I can't tell them that that's the wrong thing to feel. But to me, it's a little bit weird that, you have so much invested in the team that you're playing for Major League Baseball, but winning the ultimate prize, which would set your fan base into ecstasy, doesn't mean as much as winning a beautiful exhibition. Again, I'm not saying they're wrong. I have a hard time wrapping my mind around it. I have not seen a lot of Americans say that, the guys on the USA team, but it seems like in Japan, Venezuela, Puerto Rico, the Dominican, I don't know about the guys on the Italian team, they're all from the United States. They just have an Italian heritage. I don't think they would say it, but I haven't heard it. I don't know. It makes you raise your eyebrows a little bit. And I am not one of these talk show hosts going to say those people are wrong. No. They believe what they believe. I just can't wrap my mind around it because I was born in this country where the greatest thing in the world, if you're a baseball player, was win the World Series. So I am somewhat taken aback when they go that this is bigger than winning a World Series. I wonder, like the people that are paying these athletes all this money, if they go, well, really? Really? Again, not saying they're wrong. I'm just saying that I'm not advanced enough or evolved enough to wrap my mind around it. Does that make sense? I'm not criticizing anybody. I just can't wrap my mind around it. Again, I'm not the brightest guy in the world. But if I was a Major League Baseball player, the ultimate would be winning the World Series. It would be. ESPN New York is taking over Calandra's Italian Village in Caldwell, New Jersey this Wednesday, April 18th. Join Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg live starting at 3 p.m. with a special happy hour that you don't want to miss. Come hang out, talk sports, get ready for a huge night on the ice. Then stick around for the Rangers and Devils watch party with a 7 p.m. puck drop. Big screens, great food, unbeatable atmosphere, and the best fans in hockey all under one roof. Reservations are recommended. To book your table, call 973-226-8889. See Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg live at Calandra's Italian Village in Caldwell, New Jersey this Wednesday starting at 3 p.m. All right, Jon Rothstein knows more college basketball, I think, than anybody on the planet. Will join us in just a moment. Things that stood out for him with the field of 68 and who he thinks is going to come out of it, his Final Four and his champion. Stick around for that. Coming up next right here on ESPN New York.
Hi, this is Don LaGreca. Just like the New Jersey Devils protect their home ice, Viking Pest Control protects your home. And I know because I use Viking at my own place. As the pest control provider and proud partner of the New Jersey Devils, Viking brings 45 years of trusted experience and expert service to keep ants, cockroaches, stinging insects, rodents, and even mosquitoes out of your zone. Their local team builds a personalized game plan that actually works. And when you bundle pest control and mosquito services, you score big savings. One call, one company, total peace of mind. Visit VikingPest.com. Protecting your home inside and out.
Hi, this is John D'Agostino from D'Agostino & Associates, the injury firm. I've talked about how a construction accident took my father's leg. The heavy prosthetic he wore looked nothing like the high-tech limbs we have today. It was crude wood and metal, held together by bolts that dug into his skin and left painful ulcers. But the thing I remember about my dad is how he never complained. He put on his prosthetic leg and he went to work. He coached my baseball teams, danced, sang karaoke, and even loved to travel. He may have limped, but he always held his head up high, and he lived with dignity. At D'Agostino & Associates, I spent over 35 years building a law firm that helps accident victims and those in need of their Social Security disability benefits. We fight till our clients get the money and dignity they deserve. So call us today at 1-800-BITE-BACK. That's 1-800-248-3222. We have offices throughout New York and New Jersey. So don't tell me personal injuries aren't personal. I know what they can cost a family. I've been there, and I'll be there for you. D'Agostino, Law, Bite Back.
Life is motion, but for Jaime, debilitating pain in both hips brought everything, including family time, to a halt.
Every doctor told me the same thing. They would do one hip at a time.
At White Plains Hospital, Dr. Jacob Totka's unique expertise provided an alternate approach by replacing both of Jaime's hips on the same day.
In just 2 hours, I got 2 new hips, and I went home that day.
White Plains Hospital, among the best hospitals anywhere that just so happens to be here. A member of the Montefiore Health System.
Hey, this is Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson for 3. And this is your home for New York Knicks basketball. This is 880 ESPN.
WHSQ and WCBS FM HD2, New York.
If you love great food and smart prices, you need to know about Wild Fork Foods. Right now, beef tenderloin is only $10 a pound, and Atlantic salmon portions are just $9.98 a pound. That's serious value on awesome quality cuts. Plus, Wild Fork offers over 450 meat and seafood options, all blast frozen to lock in freshness and flavor. Visit one of their 7 stores across Long Island and New Jersey, or get same-day delivery at wildforkfoods.com.
There's a lot of reasons why people buy at Ramsey Mazda. It's their selection, it's their customer service, and it's their savings. Lease a new 2026 Mazda CX-30 2.5S preferred all-wheel drive for just $219 for 36 months. Start shopping now at RamseyMazda.com. Choose wisely. Choose Ramsey Mazda. Call 833-853-2970 for details. VIN TM108368. MSRP $31,435. Zero security deposit. Ends 3/31/26.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program may only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it could end your debt nightmare and save you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. For free information and to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, simply go online and visit DRA.com or call 800-433-8909. 800-433-8909. Again, that's 800-433-8909.
All right, so before we bring in our guest, if you asked me, my producer Ray Deanhan, if he said, Michael, who do you want on after Selection Sunday? Anybody. I could get you anybody, any broadcaster, any analyst, anybody on any network. I would say I want Jon Rothstein. He knows more college basketball than anybody on this planet. And I mean anybody, and that's not hyperbole. And he's going to join us right now. College basketball insider for CBS Sports, host of the Inside College Basketball Now podcast for CBS Sports. Jon will also serve as a sideline reporter for CBS and TNT sports coverage of the first 2 rounds of the NCAA tournament and a studio analyst on CBS Sports Network throughout March Madness. He started here with ESPN New York many, many moons ago, and he joins us now. Jon, how you doing, man?
Great, Michael. Great to be with you.
I'm glad that you could make it and carve out some time. What, after you're watching the field of 64 be unveiled, anything jump out at you and say, well, that's not fair, or they got that really wrong?
You know, unlike a year ago when I thought it was ridiculous that North Carolina was included in the NCAA tournament, I thought that the committee did a really, really good job with the bracket. The 68 teams that I had projected in the field on Sunday morning were the same 68 teams that wound up in the 2026 NCAA tournament. There were a couple things here and there, Michael, by a seed line or two that I would have disagreed with. I thought, you know, it's a little bit crazy that Miami is a 7 seed right now in the West region and is going to go to St. Louis to play Missouri. I'm actually doing that game later in the week. And I also thought, you know, we have made such a big deal about who is going to be the top overall seed in the NCAA tournament. That was obviously Duke, but Duke has, to me, unequivocally the hardest road to the Final Four out of any of the number 1 seeds. Duke is going to play a brand-name team in the round of 32 in Ohio State or TCU. Then, if seeds hold, there could be a matchup against Rick Pitino or Bill Self in the Sweet 16 in Washington. And then on the other side, you have potentially Dan Hurley or Tom Izzo. Michael, the East region this year, I have named the region of blue bloods because the pedigree in this region is ridiculous. 16 head coaches in this region, 6 of them have coached in the Final Four.
Well, let's talk about St. John's. Obviously, a lot of our listeners care about that. Was a 5 seed fair for them? And also, they won the Big East tournament. They won the Big East regular season. They beat UConn 2 out of 3 times, and 2 times they beat them. They embarrassed them. Do they deserve to be sent out there and also to be in this bracket that's going to be, like you said, it's going to be hell to get out of?
Well, this is what we need to remember right now, and this is something I think that, you know, is all about the changing of the times right now. The Big East is not the Big East that you and I grew up with. It's not even the Big East that I knew when I was obviously starting in this business. The Big East, for the second time in 3 years, has just 3 teams in the NCAA tournament. That is as many teams from a volume perspective as the West Coast Conference. So if we're looking at St. John's body of work and you're looking at the ways they've moved the needle, yes, have they dominated things since January 1st? Absolutely. But they've also only accumulated 4 wins, 2 against UConn, 2 against Villanova, over teams that were projected to be in the NCAA tournament and now are in the NCAA tournament. When you stack that up among the other power conferences, it's not even close. This was the bid representation among power conferences. The ACC and the Big 12 got 8. Obviously, the Big 10 got 9, and the SEC got 10. The Big East got 3. And look, this is another discussion for another day, but there is real questions about the health and the long-term prosperity of this conference when you're talking about being a real player in terms of getting quality volume in the NCAA tournament.
You know, what's dangerous about this, though, John, is that you can only play who you could play. I mean, they play the schedule put in front of them, and yeah, if the Big East is down, that doesn't reflect well, but the teams that they played that are in the NCAA tournament, they took care of them and took care of UConn in a way that almost embarrassed UConn. That's a blue blood program, and they took care of them at the Garden in the Big East Championship and then at the Garden in the regular season, and then to see them 3 lines ahead of St. John's, it's kind of tough because UConn's coming out of the Big East too, and they're a 2-line.
Well, this is the difference right now. You are evaluated for the NCAA tournament by the selection committee by your overall body of work. So the games you play from day one until Selection Sunday are all weighted the same. You're absolutely right with what you said in conference play. But with that said, look at St. John's in the non-conference portion of the schedule. A tough loss to Alabama, a tough loss to Iowa State and Las Vegas, a loss to Auburn who didn't make the field, a loss to Kentucky, a win over an Ole Miss team that didn't make the NCAA tournament. Now you look at UConn and what UConn did during the non-conference portion of the schedule. UConn has a neutral site win over Florida. UConn has a neutral site win over Illinois. UConn has a road win at Kansas. Those are 3 of the top 16 seeds in the NCAA tournament, not to mention UConn also beat Texas, who's in the field, and beat BYU, who's a 6th seed. So when you add that all up in total, that is why UConn is a 2 and St. John's is a 5.
All right, so out of the field of 68, and you look, I'm sure you've done all the matchups in your head and probably on paper. Is there a dark horse that people might not think that much about, might not know that much about, but you obviously do, that you think could make a run?
Are you saying the mid-major level winning a round of 64 game, or a team that's a power conference team that could break open a bracket?
Well, let's go a mid-major that can, just shock everybody. Is there that team this year?
Well, there's a couple of matchups right now that stuck out as soon as the bracket came out. Akron over Texas Tech is a sleeper game that I have picked. I have picked Akron to beat Texas Tech. Akron, again, a team under John Gross that is playing in the NCAA tournament for the 4th time in 5 years. Texas Tech, Michael, had J.T. Toppin, in my opinion, the second-best player in college basketball behind Cameron Boozer, tear his ACL about 3 weeks ago and has not been the same team since. I think that's a very, very vulnerable 5 seed in that matchup, so I am taking Akron to win that game. And then I like Troy over Nebraska. This is, again, a very interesting storyline because Nebraska has never won an NCAA tournament game. Nebraska has tied its program record for wins with 26, but in order to be in a situation where it can break that record, it has to do something it's never done, and that's win an NCAA tournament game. So I've got Troy winning that game. If you're looking for a player on Troy to put in bold print, it's Thomas Dowd, the Dennis Rodman of the Sun Belt. He had 25 and 19 earlier this season when Troy won a game at San Diego State.
All right, let's look at the overall and tell me what your Final Four is.
I've got UConn coming out of the East. I've got Houston coming out of the South, Purdue out of the West, and then Michigan out of the Midwest. Keep in mind right now, Michael, when you're looking at the South region, Houston was supposed to be the host school in the South region, and their AD, Eddie Nunez, made the decision to forfeit that right so that Houston could have a chance to play in the South region. The regionals this year at the Toyota Center in downtown Houston. So if Houston wins 2 games, it will be playing at home in the Sweet 16 and the Elite 8. That is a really, really difficult scenario if the seeds hold for Florida. This is very similar to 2003 when Syracuse won a national title. I'm sure you remember Jim Boeheim and company the second weekend played in Albany in what was a virtual home game. It's very similar for Houston. And, I know you love great stories. This Purdue senior class has seen everything in their college careers. Braden Smith, Fletcher Loyer, and Trey Kaufman-Wren have all been together at one school for 4 years. Their freshman year, win the Big Ten regular season title, win the Big Ten tournament, but then are victim to the biggest upset in the history of the NCAA tournament when they lose to Fairleigh Dickinson. The next year, they have the great bounce back. They go to the national title game. They lose to UConn. Last year, they went to the Sweet 16 and lost a really, really close game to Houston. Sometimes in doing this now 20-plus years, I find that teams that bring back a large percentage of scoring from the year before and a great veteran returning nucleus, it's difficult to keep that team engaged for the entirety of the season because they know that the season is defined by what happens over the next 3 weeks. I saw it at UConn in 2004. I saw it in 2007 when Florida went back-to-back under Billy Donovan. I had seen that for the majority of the season with Purdue until they flipped the switch last week in the Big Ten tournament. I think the circle becomes complete, and I like Purdue.
All right, so you mentioned UConn's in your Final Four. You're not scared off by the way they played against St. John's in the championship, and I believe they lost to Marquette with an opportunity to share the regular season title. What are you seeing in this tournament that will override those two losses?
The NCAA tournament has just always brought out the last 3 years the best out of UConn under Dan Hurley. They're not going to have to play, obviously, a Big East team, but if UConn can get through, in my opinion, its second game, which could be against UCLA, who is playing incredible basketball right now under Mick Cronin and beat Michigan State last week at the Big Ten tournament without Tyler Bilodeau, their best offensive player. If that happens, and UConn can obviously get through to the Elite Eight, a fourth meeting between UConn and St. John's could be on the table if St. John's were to get by Kansas and get by Duke, and the stakes would be much higher than a Big East regular season title and a Big East tournament title. The stakes would be an Elite Eight matchup in our nation's capital for the right to go to the Final Four. I mean, Michael, if it's UConn, St. John's, and Pitino against Hurley to go to a Final Four, I mean, I know I'm going to need a tranquilizer. I can't think about how Dan Hurley's going to feel.
We're talking with Jon Rothstein of CBS Sports here on the Michael Kay Show, talking about the field of 68. So you said if with St. John's getting to that game against UConn, where do you see St. John's bowing out? Do you think they have a chance to win a national championship, or is that a flawed team?
No. I mean, I have said since last summer that the burgeoning rivalry in college basketball was St. John's and UConn. I've been talking about it since last July, and what's come to fruition this year were three highly anticipated games, and only one of them was a great game. I am going to pick a fourth meeting to occur in Washington, and I am this time going to take the Huskies to get to Indianapolis. I think when you look at the dynamics right now of St. John's, I still think that last year's team was probably a more complete team, but this team, I think, has really benefited well from this three-forward alignment. And I know who's coaching them, and I know the guy who's coaching them is able to do something that not all coaches can do, Michael. Rick Pitino does not need the best players to always win, and you can't say that about a lot of coaches. And I was thinking about it Saturday night in studio when they were dominating UConn at the Garden. If Rick Pitino never went to the Boston Celtics and left Kentucky in 1997, how many national titles does he have? Is it 5? Is it 6? Is it 7? He kind of always comes in third when people talk about the best college coaches of all time, because you have to go with Wooden and Krzyzewski, but you have to add in the caveat that Pitino, 29 years ago, had things rolling at Kentucky, won a national title in 96, lost in the title game in 97, and Tubby Smith, who took over for Pitino, his former assistant, when Pitino went to the Celtics, won a title in Kentucky in 98. I think he would have in excess of 5 national titles if he stayed at Kentucky.
Do you believe, John, he doesn't show his hand all that much, that he regrets going to the Celtics? Because I guess he thought he was going to get Tim Duncan. He didn't. Would he, if he had a do-over, would he have stayed in Kentucky?
Look, finances play a lot into this, and it's 30 years ago, but $50 million is $50 million.
Right.
I think, and he has told me this as well, Rick Pitino would probably tell you that the place he might have had the most fun. Now, I know he's really enjoyed staying at St. John's, but Michael, he loved being at Providence. Now, it's like, here's the thing, and Jay Wright has told me this 10, 20 times in my conversations and time spent with him over the years. A lot of college coaches would love to take on other opportunities. Jay Wright told me a million times he would have loved to have coached the Knicks. He would have loved to have coached the Sixers. But then he said to himself, but I'm going to have to leave Villanova to do that, and ultimately I don't want to do that, and that's why he stayed at one place throughout his college career. Rick Pitino has been in a situation where he has left and taken other jobs, but it's led him to a scenario where he has always been in a situation where he has obviously been in demand, and it's also led him to a situation where he's got this really unique cap to his career at St. John's. But coaches I found doing this, Michael, are always sometimes lamenting decisions that they made. It was the same way, obviously, with Larry Brown, who, as you know, is somebody who went to North Carolina, coached at both UCLA and Kansas, but obviously didn't stay long enough probably to build the type of connection, even though he did win a national championship at Kansas and take UCLA to a title game in the early 80s.
Now, one of the things about the tournament that's so wonderful is that, there are these shocking upsets, 15 beats 2, occasionally 16 beats 1. Do you think that Cinderella, though, is on life support because of NIL, because of the nomadic existence of players now, one team 1 year, one team another year? Do you think that Cinderella is in trouble?
It's changed things a little bit because we have such a gap between the have and the have-nots, but this is all cyclical. In 2023, 3 years ago, we had San Diego State and Florida Atlantic playing in the Final Four.
Yep.
And UConn and Miami were on the other side of that bracket, and neither team was a 1 seed. I'll take you back 2 years ago to 2024. In 2024, NC State was losing to Louisville at halftime of their first ACC tournament game and managed to win 5 games in 5 days after being nowhere near the at-large picture, and then managed as an 11 seed to beat Texas Tech, to beat Oakland, to beat Marquette, and then beat Duke to get to a Final Four. So we are 2 years away from NC State winning 9 straight games to go to a Final Four. This is all cyclical. I totally hear what you're saying. I think it's obviously a little bit more difficult because you don't have mid-major teams staying together as much as they did a couple of years ago or 20 years ago, like when we saw George Mason go to a Final Four in 2006. But we are still going to have upsets. Let's also remember McNeese won a game in the NCAA tournament last year and beat Clemson.
Where do you have Calipari and Arkansas doing?
Calipari and Arkansas are in the West region, the region of floor generals. Arkansas, I have in a 50-50 game coming up just short against Wisconsin. But here's what I'll say, and this is something obviously people who are not the college basketball junkie, but the casual fan should obviously take note of. Michael, because you knew me when I was 21 or 22. I've been doing this 20 years right now. Darius Acuff is the best freshman point guard to ever play for John Calipari. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be better than Derrick Rose in the NBA. I'm not saying he's going to be better than John Wall in the NBA or De'Aaron Fox or Tyreek Evans, but the season that he had for Arkansas trumps any of the seasons that the guys I just mentioned had under Calipari at Memphis or Kentucky. I'm not making this comparison based on the player that I'm going to mention, his affect and how people remember his career, but from a talent perspective, his ability to score and dish at a high level really reminds me of another Stephon Marbury.
Wow. High praise. All right, so you gave us your Final Four. Do you have your champion?
Purdue.
All the way. Wow. That would be a bit of a shocker, right?
Well, I think they're the preseason number one. They bring back 86% of their scoring. It reminds me again of what I saw in 2004 with UConn with Emeka Okafor and Ben Gordon, where they were kind of just treading water the entire season and then got into a situation where they turned things up that year in the Big East tournament. Purdue's trajectory based on what I saw in the Big Ten tournament feels kind of similar.
And who do you have them playing in the final?
I have a Purdue-UConn final. I have Purdue and UConn, a rematch of 2024.
And with Duke, you have them in your Final Four. The fact that they're banged up a bit, does that lessen your enthusiasm for them possibly winning a title?
Well, look, I think a big storyline right now in this NCAA tournament is we have two teams that are two of the four number one seeds, Duke and Michigan, that are dealing with significant injuries.
Yeah.
Duke lost its starting point guard, Caleb Foster, who was obviously a menace on the ball defensively. Now, Caden Boozer, the twin brother of Cameron Boozer, is going to come into the spotlight and man that spot. But Duke has its hands full with that dynamite East region. And I'll tell you what, I obviously, am watching every game I can. TCU, if TCU gets by Ohio State, as I think they will, TCU could be a very difficult game for Duke in the round of 32. Much like Jamie Dixon did at the University of Pittsburgh, he has built a team based on a low turnover margin and a real physical presence. Obviously, at the rim, David Punch is playing great basketball for them up front. And Michigan, Michael, lost the best backup point guard in the country in L.J. Kaysen. I really felt a couple of weeks ago that Michigan's bench, L.J. Kaysen, Trey McKinney, Roddy Gale, and Will Cheddar, those four players, if you put them with a serviceable big man, Michigan's four reserves, and a reserve big man that's just capable of your choice, that five was good enough to finish in the top half of the Big Ten and go to the NCAA tournament. Michigan's bench took a big hit offensively, losing L.J. Kaysen.
And how far can BYU go with Debansa? Obviously, they've had injuries as well.
He could score 45 and take him to the Sweet 16, or they could lose to the Texas NC State winner.
Wow. Unbelievable. And final thing, John, you said Boozer's the best player. I think you said earlier in the spot. Who do you think is the number one pick in the NBA draft?
I think you can go a number of ways. I will say this, and this is, again, another conversation. If all things are equal, the guy who has the highest long-term ceiling in the NCAA tournament is Darren Peterson. But he's been in and out of the lineup all season long. It's been the most mercurial season that I've ever covered on a player. He unequivocally has the highest long-term ceiling. He had a performance against Baylor this season at Kansas at Allen Fieldhouse that Bill Self told me was the closest thing he's seen in college since Kevin Durant. But with that said, he is a real wild card. I think if you're looking at a top four right now, it's Peterson, Debansa, Boozer, Acuff. Darius Acuff, if you are a casual college basketball fan, is worth your attention Thursday when Arkansas plays Hawaii. Again, to me, a second coming of Stephon Marbury from a talent perspective.
All right, now I'm going to let you go right now, but I'm going to embarrass you first. I want to tell you, and I've told you this privately, I knew you when. I know how hard you worked. I am so proud of the career that you've carved out. You are the college basketball voice for me. I couldn't be prouder. If you were my brother, I couldn't be prouder. So continued success, my friend.
Well, thank you for saying that. I still have a long way to go, but I wanted to say this to you, and I texted this to you when we've corresponded over the years. You are the product as a young announcer or broadcaster of the environment that you grow up in. So I find myself doing podcasts right now or doing interviews right now, and I'll think about things that I learned from you or Don LaGreca. I remember once I called you when I was early at CBS almost 20 years ago about, studying your old interviews on Center Stage and, about how you listened and followed up. I think you did an interview with Bill Parcells once about whether or not he took the Bucks job, and he told you, well, they offered it on Tuesday, and I turned it down on Thursday, and you had the wit to say, well, but Bill, what happened on Wednesday? So you're the product of what you grow up in and what you see, and Michael, in addition to you, in addition to Don, Al Trotwig had a major impact on me early at MSG, and I still wish, I wish I could grab a beer with him.
Yeah, absolutely. Keep killing it, my friend. You have a busy couple of weeks ahead of you.
Thanks, Michael. Great talking to you.
All right, that's Jon Rothstein of CBS Sports, and he does a podcast, Inside College Basketball Now. The way he talks, and he's not reading. This is he knows everything about every team. He amazes me. He amazes me with his ability to articulate in a way that you can all understand. So I love that we were able to have him on. I hope it gives you some clarity on what's going on with the field of 64. All right, going to talk a little about the Knicks game yesterday, some other things as well. I want to continue to take your phone calls. Everybody's been patiently waiting. Everybody wants to talk. I want to talk to you as well. Right now, FanDuel is dropping bonus bets into everyone's account for the tournament. All you have to do is opt in to claim your bonus. Use them on your bracket picks, money lines, spreads, totals, game props, or even same-game parlays. But don't wait. These bonus bets are only available for a limited time. Just visit FanDuel.com/local to learn more. 21 plus, physically present in New York. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Bonus, max bonus, $500 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. For help with a gambling problem, call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
New York Knicks fans, here's a total slam dunk. For a limited time, get Verizon Fios and a line of mobile for just $64.99 a month with AutoPay. Get Fios 300 megabit per second for $20 a month. And unlimited welcome for $45 a month plus taxes and fees when you bring your own phone. Visit a Verizon store today to learn more. For new Fios internet and mobile customers, discounts applied over 36 months. Mobile and home discount enrollment required. Additional terms apply. In times of congestion, unlimited 5G and 4G LTE may be temporarily slower than other traffic. Domestic data roaming at 2G speeds.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Call 877 Cars for Kids to reach a friendly live agent. Donation is super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Call us now or go to carsforkids.org.
7 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Did you know you can donate real estate too?
Gold is now nearly $5,200 an ounce, and silver is at an all-time high. Now is the best time to cash in on your unused gold and silver by going to the Estates Roadshow. Gold and silver, old rings, chains, and even broken jewelry. Don't wait. Cash in while gold and silver are hot. 3 locations this week: Staten Island as well as Clark and Old Bridge, New Jersey. Bring your gold, silver, coins, diamonds, and watches, even broken pieces, and get cash on the spot. The prices of gold and silver are at an all-time high, so there's never been a better time to sell. No appointments, no fees, no pressure. Just friendly professional buyers with over 35 years in the business. Go to the Estates Roadshow Monday through Friday in Clark, New Jersey at the Holiday Inn, Staten Island at the Hilton Garden Inn, and Friday through Tuesday in Old Bridge at TMT Cash for Gold, the bright yellow building on Route 9 South. Get some cash in your hands today at the Estates Roadshow. For more info, follow Estates Roadshow on Facebook or go to tmtcashforgold.com.
If you've been injured in an accident that wasn't your fault, then you need a lawyer who knows New York's unique personal injury and workers' compensation laws. At the Parisman Firm, they have decades of experience handling all types of accident cases and a proven track record of delivering huge results. Their team has already recovered nearly $1 billion for injured New Yorkers. From construction to car accidents and slips and falls, they've got you covered. Call the Parisman Firm now at 718-WORKERS, where your case is their cause. Get the justice you deserve today.
Listen, I know the mentality. You try to play through pain and walk it off. Push through one more day. But when it comes to neck pain, back pain, sciatica, or nerve pain, that's a losing game. That's when you call Dr. J. Shaw at Sandwell Pain. Dr. Shaw is one of New Jersey's top pain specialists, Ivy League trained, double board certified, and he focuses on non-surgical solutions that get real results. No cuts, no downtime, no dependence on pain meds. He builds you a custom game plan for you so that you can move better, feel better, and live pain-free. Same day or next day appointments are available. Visit SandwellPain.com. Stop managing pain. Start beating it.
Presented by Robinhood.
He crosses, spins, pulls up.
With Robinhood Prediction Markets, buy or sell your predictions all game long. No house odds, just you versus the market. Put your sports IQ to work. Trade every shot, block, steal, run, and moment that shifts the game. With Robinhood Prediction Markets, trade every play. Visit Robinhood.com/predict to start trading. Futures and cleared swaps trading involves significant risk and is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives LLC, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm.
At Uline, the prevailing opinion is, if you don't live it, you don't believe it. The people at Uline believe in hard work, and they live it by being there 24/7 to answer your call, having 41,000 items in stock, and offering same-day shipping from 12 locations across North America. Business owners, sellers, buyers, shippers, and packers believe it. Uline is the hard-working, dependable source for your shipping and industrial supplies. Visit uline.com.
Empower. Pete's back on the links with all new golf clubs and hopefully less swearing.
Dang, sliced it.
He worked with Empower to help him get good at money, so he can be a little bad.
Heads up!
Oof. Talent sold separately.
Guy said these were slice-proof.
At least he has money for lessons. Invest well, live a little. Start today at empower.com.
Out on the course, they're the PGA Tour's best players. But in the arena, they're prime time. And Season 2 of TGL presented by SoFi is back with lights, cameras, action. We're talking big moments, big personalities, big names in the stands, all on the big screen. Big-time matchups with shot clocks, hammer drops, timeouts, overtime, and playoffs. It's city versus city, squad versus squad. The sport just hits different under the lights. It's TGL presented by SoFi. Keep up. It's golf. Tune into every match. Only on ESPN.
All right, so the Knicks get a win last night, and it's hard to get excited. I know there are no style points, but when you're getting ready, right, for a championship run, I mean, you've got to sit there and start to think, well, we got to play better than this. Yeah, they were down by 21 points to essentially what was a G League Golden State team. 21 points. And I'm not being hyperbolic. You look at who Golden State played yesterday, and only the fiercest NBA fans would have known everybody on the team. All their best players are out. Porzingis didn't play. Green didn't play. Curry didn't. Both Currys didn't play. I mean, hoping that Steph gets back sometime at the end of the month. So he's been nursing a bad knee injury, but they didn't play anybody. And it came down to the last shot. It's unbelievable they're playing this way. So I've been telling you about the 7-game run they're on against teams that are awful, that are trying to lose. And the Knicks have given each of them an opportunity to win. I mean, they gave up 41 points to Utah in the first quarter. They have been dreadful. Well, what are they doing? I mean, you're needing Jordan Clarkson to bail you out of situations. He bailed them out of the Utah game, and this is a guy who was relegated to the bench, didn't play anymore. But Mike Brown has to, I guess, reestablish who he's going to trust. I mean, they need McBride back in a big, big way. They need him back in a big way. But there's something missing with this team. What it is, I don't know. I mean, Brunson had another 30-point game. I get it. But some guys just aren't showing up on a game-to-game basis. What's going on? They're better than this. And once they play the dregs of the universe in the next 4 games, then they're going to have some tough games. And then are you going to be able to turn it on like a light switch when the playoffs start? When that first round series is going to be against a really good team. So, yeah, a win is a win is a win, and you shouldn't be worried about style points, but you have to really gauge where this team is, what they need to do, and how they're playing. And they're not playing great. David in Connecticut. David.
Jimmy in Connecticut, sorry. I wanted to ask you about your thoughts on Mikal Bridges. So we see his productivity has really declined, and I just had a thought. This Ironman streak is really important to him. I don't expect him to hang it up on that, but do you think he'd benefit from it? His shots look short, and I just wonder if it could be fatigue and if he would benefit from taking a game off from here and there. And let me preface by saying I'm not a proponent of load management because I love hockey too, and they don't use load management in hockey, but it's the way of the NBA now. I don't know if he would benefit from it. What do you think?
I don't think he would. I really don't. I don't think it's that. I think he's not playing the game the right way. He's not. He never has been a guy who initiates contact, and maybe we just expect too much of him because of the 5 first-round draft picks. But you got to give me more than this. I don't think he's fatigued. I don't, because there have been some games that he's played 23 minutes. So, I mean, would that make him a better player? I don't think so. I mean, he's never missed a game, right? And he's had great seasons in Brooklyn where he scored a lot of points. He just looks lost in this offense. Doesn't seem like he knows where to be or what to do with the basketball. He's the 4th option, if that, sometimes the 5th. And you can see that Mike Brown's seen it. Now, when you say, should he sit out a game? No. But maybe they should take him out of the starting lineup. Maybe that might be the thing to do. Because he needs a wake-up call. But what I'm going to choose to remember is that last postseason, he was a big reason why they went to Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals. He showed up in the postseason. He has not played that well, especially consistently, for the Knicks in the regular season. Spike, St. Pete, what do you think, Spike?
Well, I agree with you, except that he bought some time with those two great defensive players against Boston last year. By the way, Jon Rothstein's great. I used to call him when he was on ESPN when he was in his 20s. He was friendly with Andrew. He's probably still friendly with Andrew Gummer.
Yep.
But anyway, the bottom, listen to this, Michael. The bottom 8 teams in the NBA are 12-68. You can't even make a wager with Washington or Indiana. They're 0-20. You can't even bet against them. They weren't going to take any action on it. As far as the Knicks game last night, it's real simple. They have this penchant for the first, before that first timeout, the 6-minute mark.
Right.
Every game, go back and look. Every game they give up like 40% of the 3-point shots from the other team.
And by the way, Spike, that's why Mike Brown keeps burning timeouts.
Absolutely. You got to stop the bleeding.
Yep.
But again, the key, I'm going to sound like a broken record, and I know you like old people, obviously, but Mitchell Robinson is so important to this team with those extra possessions he gets. And he played it with Cat for a while last night, and that's going to be the key. And here's another thing, too. When I remember when the Yankees, more relevant to, I know you love basketball, but when the Yankees used to come in and play, well, I'm dating myself, and you will remember this. When I grew up, Kansas City Royals, they were Kansas City, whatever they were called, Athletics, were like the farm team, going back to that Roger Maris deal, I think. But this is what happens. I don't know. It's not a light switch, but I've noticed some fatigue, 2 areas, and I'll get off them. Cleveland can beat Detroit. I still can't get a beat on the Twin, on Oscar Thompson. All I'm reading is we'll look at him in 2 weeks. It's a high ankle or something. And I've heard rumors it's a lot worse. If he's out, they can't win. He's their best defender by a mile. And your point on Deuce McBride is the same thing, but the Knicks can win without him, but it's going to be tough. They need his on-the-man and his shooting. He's a 42% three-point shooter. I still think the Knicks are going to do it, and I think that Brown and Tatum, albeit on their best days, they're the best twosome in the league. They are. I know Jokic and Murray are good, but there's something about taking Brown's team back for Tatum. There's some dynamic there. I'm not stretching it. I see it on the court. And I don't know Tatum coming back is a big thing enough because he looks very, very good on offense. On defense, he's getting no lift, none. And that could be a breaking point for him. What do you think?
I'll tell you what. I mean, if you ask me, do you want him back or not, I want him back. He's one of the best players in the game. And it's going to take a while to integrate him back into what they're doing because they played, almost 60 games without him and played very well, 41 wins in 60 games. So it's going to take a while for him to find his spot in what they're doing. This is a different team than the one he played on last year. I know Brown's the same, but it's a different team. They got rid of there's no Al Horford anymore. There's no Porzingis. It's a different team. They cleared salary. They had to get under all the aprons with the new owners. They had to do it. And while they did it, Brad Stevens built a really, really good team. I think Tatum will find his spot with this team as they move along. It's a work in progress. I mean, nobody comes back from an Achilles this soon. He did. Let's go to Jeff in Long Island. Jeff.
Yeah, hey, Mike. Real quick, the NBA season is like kind of like the baseball season. I mean, not as long. Mm-hmm. But, the Knicks, they beat Denver and the Spurs easily. They crushed them. Everybody started saying, all right, we could stop judging them every night now. If they beat, whether they win by 10, 20, they lose a couple of games to bad teams. What happened last night? They win the game. None of it matters, really. I know it's people watch. I mean, I don't watch much during the regular season because at the end of the day, they really do have to just flip the light switch when the playoff starts. And if they don't get out of the first or second round or whatever it is, it's the whole thing was a failure, and that's how the season will be judged. I don't really care how they win or lose these games.
I essentially, Jeff, I essentially agree with you. But when you're this close to the end of the regular season, you're trying to pick out things that could manifest themselves in a negative or positive way once the playoffs begin. Because, you want to win. The more you win, even though you make them nail biters, you might climb up in the seeding. I get all that. But there are things that are alarming. Mikal Bridges has been alarming. The inconsistent nature of the team has been alarming. Maybe they're bored. You see that in long seasons. You do. Maybe they're bored. And they don't get up for these games against bad teams. And they have not been zapped by it. And they're not going to play a bad team in the playoffs. So I agree with you, Jeff. It's all going to come down to what they do in the playoffs. That's how Mike Brown's going to be judged. That's how the decision to fire Thibodeau is going to be judged as well. It's what it comes down to. But they are playing the games. We're trying to gain some sort of insight into what is happening on the court and how it's going to impact them when they're playing big games. And you don't love what you're saying or what you're seeing. And the fact that you're sitting there and you're actually contemplating, changing the starting lineup with Bridges. And then, you see Clarkson now, after being buried for about 2 months, become an important player again. You're looking at rotations, see who he's depending on, who he's going to phase out. That's why these games count, because he's finding out as well. He's finding out. Let's go to Nick and Emerson. Nick.
Hello, my friend Michael. How are you today?
I'm good, my friend. Nick, how you doing?
I'm good. Good. Obviously, my last call, I talked about Bridges too, but you brought it up like something's missing with this team. Obviously, Bridges isn't. I guess you could say Bridges is missing because of the way he's been playing.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just so perplexed. And listen, I'm a cancer survivor, so I don't like to use this term, but it's almost like he's cancerous in that locker room. I'm 100% convinced that he's the sole reason why Tom Thibodeau's not here anymore. Which clearly, we'll see in the playoffs. But I may be regretting that right now. They were up for every game all the time. And what I'm so confused about Mikal is he was teammates in college with Josh Hart, who's a dog, Jalen Brunson, who's a dog, Dante DiVincenzo, who was a dog for the Knicks. He just doesn't have like that fire, that feel to me. Something is just completely off with him. And, of course, I know you mentioned it, the expectations are through the roof for him because of those 5 first-round picks. Could have easily had Giannis here right now if we didn't do that. But that's it. I love you. Thank you for always taking my calls. Have a great one, Michael.
I would move away from the fact that he's a bad seed in the locker room. He's very close with Brunson and very close with Hart. And I think that one of the main reasons that he's inconsistent is because they have not found a consistent role for him. On a game-to-game basis, what do you want from him? So he was a dog at Villanova. He knew what his role was. I don't think he knows what his role is. He's always been higher up in the pecking order with Phoenix and with Brooklyn than he is here. Again, he's at least the 4th option, maybe the 5th. So you got Brunson number 1. You got Cat number 2. You got OG number 3. So who's 4th and who's 5th? That's what it comes down to. I mean, do they look at Hart as more of an option than Bridges? Either he has not carved out a spot for himself here, or Brown hasn't. And in terms of, you're convinced that he played a role in Thibodeau being let go, I mean, that's all conjecture. We don't know. But I do know one thing. I'm pretty sure no one stood up for him. Even the people that we look at as, upstanding citizens, I don't think anybody marched into Dolan and said, you can't do this. No one did. So whoever was the deciding factor to go in and tell Dolan, I'm not coming back, that might have been the best thing for the Knicks. They wouldn't have invested $140 million in Bridges. So they could have gotten out from under if they said, well, Thibodeau is coming back. And then they signed him into that contract, which they almost had to do. If you're going to give up 5 first-round draft picks for a guy, you can't give him up after a season. You have to re-sign him. Now, I give him credit. He took a little bit less than the maximum he could have gotten because it allowed the Knicks to stay under the second apron, which gave them some maneuverability. So he did the right thing by the team, but did the team do the right thing, bringing him back for that much money and tying that much money up for 4 years? Hey, get ready for Rickleball Madness. This Friday, ESPN New York is taking over Pickleball Heaven in Medford, New York. Catch a live broadcast of DiPietro and Rothenberg starting at 6 a.m., and then stick around for our social ladder pickleball tournament. They'll crown the champions, then roll right into a college hoops watch party to cap off the day. The tournament officially sold out, but the event is open to the public, so come down, enjoy the action, and be part of Pickleball Madness. Brought to you by Pickleball Heaven, the new standard of indoor pickleball. Something happened in baseball, and I'm talking about the WBC, has people in an uproar, and I don't get it. I don't get it. You know I'm a traditionalist. I don't get the angst. People go nuts. I think there should be more of it. We'll talk about that when we get back right here on ESPN New York.
Prizes, flyaways, even cash money. You want it? We've got it. Find a list of all contests and official rules by visiting ESPNNewYorkContests.com.
That's ESPNNewYorkContests.com.
25 a month, 5 whole years, same sweet number in your ears. Check it in a year, check it in 5. This ain't optimum 5, but price is still alive. 25 a month, 5 whole years, same sweet number in your ears. Get Optimum famously fast fiber internet. Optimum.com/25 for 5. Or call 8884-OPTIMUM. Terms apply. See Optimum.com for details.
Knicks fans, it's time to hit the court with BetMGM, an official sports betting partner of the New York Knicks. Download the BetMGM app today and add a boost of excitement to every New York game day with same-day parlays, live betting options, player props, boosted odds specials, and the best daily promotions in the business. With the BetMGM app at your fingertips, you can experience the excitement of betting on your favorite players and get in on all the blue and orange action as your New York Knicks drive the lane. Find out why basketball fans love BetMGM, an official sports betting partner of the New York Knicks. BetMGM. Make it legendary. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 years of age or older to wager and physically present in New York and New Jersey only. Subject to eligibility requirements. Gambling problem in New York? Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. For New Jersey, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hi, this is Don LaGreca. I'm big on having the right game plan on the ice and at home, which is why I use Viking Pest Control myself as the pest control provider and proud partner of the New Jersey Devils. Viking has been protecting homes for over 45 years with expert pest control service and solutions tailored just for you. From ants and cockroaches to rodents, stinging insects, and backyard mosquitoes, Viking keeps pests out of your house and out of the play. Bundle pest control with mosquito services and save big. One call, one company, total peace of mind. Visit VikingPest.com. Viking Pest Control, protecting your home inside and out.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You sort through tons of resumes and you get too many so-so applicants. You're just waiting for someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now there's a place where you can meet them fast. ZipRecruiter.
Need to hire right away. Start your search for strong candidates. The right fit awaits. Build your team. Build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/ESPN right now to try it for free, and you're on your way to meeting your match. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So try it now. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/ESPN. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/ESPN.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
Rich Eisen here. For small businesses, every hire counts, and so does your time. Hiring can quickly become overwhelming, from sorting applications to figuring out who's truly qualified. That's where LinkedIn Hiring Pro helps. It streamlines the process so you can focus on connecting with the right candidates, not managing the noise. Hire right the first time. Post your job and get $100 off towards your job post at linkedin.com/Eisen. That's linkedin.com/Eisen. Terms and conditions apply. It's Rich Eisen for Pella Windows and Doors. Sometimes teams take a timeout to regroup and call the right play. When it comes to your home, Pella Windows and Doors always has the winning game plan. They do it every day, and that's why your neighbors trust them. Visit Pella.com/Eisen today. Right now, Pella Windows and Doors of New Jersey is offering 25% off windows and doors or 0% APR for 72 months. Some restrictions may apply. See store for details. Offer ends March 31st, 2026.
Step inside the game you love with the NBA app. Tap to watch every game as it's happening.
and never miss a moment of the jaw-dropping action. Get closer to the players than anywhere else. Follow the latest schedules, scores, and stats. Keep up with every story from across the league. And with NBA ID, it's all personalized to you. The game lives here. Download today.
All right, time now for the tournament update. Brought to you by Schweppes. St. John's Red Storm got a 5 seed in the East region and will play 12 seed Northern Iowa on Friday at 7:10 p.m. Hofstra Pride got a 13 seed in the South region and will face 4th seed Alabama at 3:15 p.m. on Friday. LIU Sharks got a 16 seed in the West region and will face 1 seed Arizona on Friday at 1:35 p.m. That's the tournament update presented by Schweppes. Schweppes delivers above-the-rim refreshment. Feel the madness and refresh your game with a Schweppes Seltzer or Schweppes Ginger Ale. All right, so there's been an outcry because the Dodgers have sold the naming rights to their field. So they've sold the name. It's probably for a truckload of money because they've been negotiating with this Japanese company forever. And starting on opening day, home opener, the Dodgers will play their games at Uniglow Field at Dodger Stadium. And people go, oh, how awful. Dodger Stadium. It's such an important name, and it's still Dodger Stadium. And what they essentially did was keep Dodger Stadium and sell the naming rights to the field. But every time you hear the Dodgers are playing, it's going to be at Uniglow Field at Dodger Stadium. They probably got, I'd say, $100+ million a year. Why wouldn't you do it? Why are we hanging on ceremony? I've been saying this for years. I've told Yankee people about it. Why don't you sell the naming rights? Imagine the worth of the naming rights of Yankee Stadium. We could never, Yankee Stadium is the brand. Okay, I get it. Then sell the naming rights to the field, just like what the Dodgers do. There's a workaround. Why do people get upset with this? But people don't get upset that other ballparks are named after companies. Most every ballpark is named after a company. The Jets and the Giants play at MetLife. And take a look at Madison Square Garden. It's still Madison Square Garden. It's essentially Delta Madison Square Garden. It's all over the court. So they're branding it and making money. This is a business. So you think Dodger fans should be insulted that they sold the naming rights to the field? I don't get why people make such a big deal of things. And I'm going to tell everybody that does make a big deal out of it, get closer to the speakers. You're going to get over it. Just like you got over the star patch on the shoulder for the Yankees. You got over it. Just like you got over the Strauss ad on the helmets in the postseason. It's kind of like blended in, didn't it? I mean, why do we go crazy about it? The Met Stadium, by the way, perfectly named. Because even if there wasn't a Citibank, Citi Field sounds great. Like it's a field in the city. But they get a lot of money. They get $20 million a year. And they cut that deal before the stadium opened. So they probably get so much more now. $20 million a year just to call it Citi Field. And we're supposed to be like affronted by it? Come on, everybody has to relax. There are things that there are hills you should die on. This is not it. Like I remember when I did the show with Don and Peter, Major League Baseball came out and they put the ads for the Spider-Man movie on the bases. People's heads exploded. Oh my God, you're desecrating baseball. And Major League Baseball in its infinite, not wisdom in this case, short-sightedness, well, they panicked and they took the Spider-Man logo off the bases. Who cares? Who cares about stuff like this? And those that do, they just want to get angry about something. That's it. Let's just get angry about something. Let's go to Calvin, Washington Heights. Calvin.
Hey, Mike, I'm a huge fan of your show, man. What an amazing game yesterday. The two Titanics playing was amazing for the sport. I want to get some feedback from your comments that you said earlier about Judge. Judge played with so much emotion. He expressed, if I'm not mistaken, if you said that this was the loudest game that he's been a part of, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Okay. You could tell because he threw the ball from right field to third base the fastest he's ever thrown since 2018. Same thing with Severino, though he was clocking like if he was in the Yankees in 2018 at 99.5 miles per hour. You know, these players, man, they play with this emotion. And I know that Julio Rodriguez stated that this is bigger than a World Series sometimes. In his point of view, it's bigger than a World Series. The best way to word it for people is like, you see how passionate of a baseball fan you are. Just think of a bunch of Michael Kays in a country that love baseball that much. And it's like over there were people, the Times Square was all watching the game. Yep. Literally. It was like the Times Square, they were all watching the game. And how the players feel, you know, pitching won yesterday. You know, they hit 6 hits against Paul Schemes, but the runs didn't come in. But pitching won, the better lineup lost, but the pitching won. Great performance from both teams. I just was really upset. I don't want to blame it on that. But you have Perdomo that walks more than what he strikes out. Juan Soto that has the best eye in baseball complaining to the umpire.
Disgraceful.
You don't want the game to finish like that, but I don't want to make that as an excuse.
No, you don't have to make an excuse, but it's a reason. It should have been Tatis against Miller with the game on the line, and Perdomo should have walked, and Soto should not have struck out in the 8th inning. One thing Soto said, I haven't even gotten it today, and we're up against it. Don Hahn and Rosenberg coming up in a couple of minutes. Soto left the ballpark and said to Jeff Passan, well, you know what? We showed who the best team in the world is. Really? You lost. Now, I know the call at the end was terrible. We don't know that Tatis would have gotten a hit. He didn't get a hit earlier. Sometimes the best players don't get a hit. Judge didn't get a hit earlier with a runner at third, less than 2 outs. Tatis struck out in the same situation. So I don't know what Soto was saying. Well, we showed who the best team was. Yeah. Right now, between you two is the United States. They won the game. Even though the last out, to me, isn't valid, they won the game. So I'm not sure what Soto's saying. Maybe we'll find out more when he gets to Met camp. So we wait to see who wins tonight and who the United States will play for the WBC championship. Coming up in just a moment, Don Hahn and Rosenberg. And in the words of Billy Joel, life is a series of hellos and goodbyes. I'm afraid it's time for goodbye again. See everybody.
50 years from now, will jeans be wide or skinny? Will email still exist? Will guac still be extra? One thing is certain. If you won the new Millionaire for Life from the New Jersey Lottery today, you'd still be getting $1 million